My name is Mark Cameron Maynard. I'm a specialist therapeutic artist, and I've been working in the UK since, I went over there in 2005, and we've been working since 2009 with the NHS, trying to improve patient experience, trying to reduce pain levels, and generally improving the patient journey right through the whole system. We've been working since 2009, bringing nature connection and the stillness and the stress reduction, the pain reduction into breast screening in the Countess of Chester Hospital in UK. And we've worked with dementia and other areas of mental health and cancer support. We've worked in some of the cancer support hospitals in the Christie in Manchester, working with people in intensive care when they're on intensive drug therapy, etc. We've worked in drug and alcohol recovery. These things overlap with maternity because people experience all of these difficult situations. Mothers who are struggling, they're highly stressed, and they've got to be supported well to go through those. So it's quite fundamental and really important to build this nature connection support and reduce this stress and anxiety. We've had various studies on the work, and statistically we've had 86% of patients have been deeply clinically relaxed, 89% of the family and carers and support staff clinically relaxed. We've worked out that by looking at some of the studies that the pain threshold increases by 52% for a deep immersion with the size of the image, and that enables people to reduce that pain level, to reduce that pain medication, get more support without any side effects. So that's definitely a bonus. So in UK there was the Black Report. The Black Report was an anonymous study where people for NHS staff, and they were asked, how does your stress level affect your ability to provide care? And the simple question was, does your personal stress level affect your ability to provide care? And being honest, that's obviously very helpful, and the figures in that result were well over 80% from memory. So it was basically showing that staff performance and ability to cope and offer care, their resources, are affected by their stress level. So it's not only the patient that we're supporting directly, we're supporting the staff to be able to cope with situations that can change quite quickly. And so environment is key to this. And if you can work with this aspect of finding a stillness, being in a peaceful state and understanding that, then you are helping everybody. And so that's part of your own personal development, part of your own work learning. And so we put as much value on that as it is for the patients themselves, for the mothers, the children, the fathers, the whānau, the family. So it's not to be underrated. So in 2014, I approached the Preston Birth Unit and I spoke with Dr. Tracy Cooper and her team, and we were looking at how I can work to support the women, the families, right through the birthing journey. And the work that I do involves nature connection. I work with cinematic imagery, moving imagery of nature, and still imagery, but mostly moving images and sound, music or silent. I've got a film with Dr. Tracy Cooper and one of her staff and the team leaders who has shared their experience of working with the nature films and what that was about for them, talking about the oxytocin and how adrenaline blocks the oxytocin. So if people are stressed or anxious, then that brings up adrenaline response, which blocks oxytocin, which blocks the birthing process, slows it down. And we're aware of that. Mothers who are stressed, how sometimes that can carry on for quite a long time. So it's not straightforward. So It obviously makes sense from a very simplistic point of view, but there it is in the science. We can see how these things affect the situation. So let's play that film so you can have a look at that, and we'll be back with you shortly. Thank you. In the beauty of the nature, I'm looking for stillness, but not just stillness, in inner stillness that I feel inside me when I'm filming. And I feel like this is the healing quality that helps me heal and helps others heal. I work as a specialist filmmaker, making nature films that go into hospitals and into the community. These help people in their healing process. Now, through our research, what we found is that people heal faster and that they leave hospital earlier. For example, 20 minutes in nature is comparable to 1 dose of ADHD medication. When helping people cope with stress, if they're watching the nature films, we can increase their pain threshold by 33 to 52%.
So Tricia Anderson, she was a midwife and a midwifery educator, and she spent a lot of her life looking at oxytocin release and what optimised normal oxytocin release in women in labour and birth. And she wrote a wonderful chapter with Nikki Leap in Sue Down's book, which was called Evidence and Debate about Normal Childbirth in 2004, so quite a long time ago now. But within that, they talked about how the environment needs to be calm and no bright lights and disturbances, and how if we keep the birth environment really calm and relaxed, it will encourage oxytocin release in women throughout labour and birth. So Mark's imagery helps us to provide that kind of environment. So I feel that it does help oxytocin release, which in turn reduces the time that women are in labour and birth as well, and optimises a normal physiological process which women can benefit from, for having better outcomes physically, but also better psychological outcomes, and also that passes to the family and the people surrounding her during labour and birth as well. I really feel it helps support job satisfaction and makes people enjoy their work and enjoy their job.
In my experience with the nature installation, in labour, I find women are watching the slides, and as they are contracting, one of the things that I have noticed them do is whether they're breathing through the contraction or using the gas and air, they are focused on the clip and the music. So as they are contracting, they're using the gas and air to help them get through the contraction, but then also equally focused on the slides, which help them to get through that bit, ready for it to come again. But it kind of makes it so that they are coping a lot better, they are focused a lot better, they remain positive, and they're breathing through their contractions effectively as well. So that's one of the other benefits that I have experienced women with the nature installation.
The other reason that I think it's really good is for women with mental health issues, because it keeps them calm and relaxed all the way through labour and birth, and you want them to be calm and relaxed for their body to work properly, and also for them to feel confident to give birth, and with the support of the people around them, their carers and the midwife, they can feel supported to get through that, but in a nice calm environment that helps keep their mental health issues at a low and under control. So it provides an all-round fantastic experience, and that is my aim, for every woman to have the best birth experience possible, but not also for her but for her family as well, so it to be a celebration and an excellent birthing experience, not just safe but also an experience that they will never forget, and a good experience at that. It just is so beautiful that a woman is relaxing in the water throughout labour and birth, And she's got this beautiful imagery, like she's giving birth in the woods or giving birth on the beach or under a waterfall. And it provides such a beautiful environment. It's just great.
I was just looking after a lady in labour yesterday, and we were just using the media projector, and yeah, it was just, I was just saying to Emma, we used there's a spring setting with all the birds outside, and it's just really relaxing for the women and for the staff.
And that puts you in a good state.
Mood, yeah.
It's in a good state.
Yeah, and dad as well. It's really good for the dads because some of them get really stressed and nervous, and he was just really relaxed. And,
That's right.
Yeah.
So that gives you some insight into Tracy, the staff experience of working in that way as we develop this work together. We also have a retired surgeon, John Fleet, and he does courses for NHS staff into how to help them reconnect with why they got into nursing. Why did they get into doing what they're doing? And we work with the nature films, we work with music, with different things to actually reconnect to what was motivating people to care, to support, to do what they do. When in these challenging times, the stress level in the NHS is very high, obviously got very difficult times, and staff need support to find and reconnect to a deeper sense of connection and purpose and presence to what's happening in their lives and why they do what they do. So we've been bringing projections into birthing units for the first time, as far as we know, in the UK, and helping the women through their whole birthing process. And this goes right through the journey. We're talking about training at the beginning, so they watch the nature imagery and they learn how to relax, focus, become more embodied and sensorily aware. And that, of course, their family, the partner is also involved, of course, as well as the baby. And that is going right through to when they leave and with the new baby, and how they stay embodied, stay present, and form that really important nature connection and all the benefits that come from that. So we also did some specialist work around perinatal mental health in 2019, and we created a cinematic nature room, timeout type room, within a secure unit. It was the 4th unit that they created in UK for supporting perinatal mental health. We've reduced anxiety levels and stress levels. We've promoted a lot greater sense of well-being and relaxation and connection between the staff, the whānau, the family, partners and the women during that whole process. And we've increased pain thresholds by up to 52%. So these moving images of nature, specially designed, specially created, it's the artistic aspect. I've worked a lot in working with people with disability, dance and movement. So it's all about embodiment and becoming aware of what you see, what you're hearing, being very present. Mindfulness wasn't even a word when I started doing this back in New Zealand. So I'm home now in New Zealand. We're here in Otaki Gorge at the moment, and this amazing vista here, and really soaking up the sense of the value of nature connection. So there have been various studies on nature connection. Derbyshire University has just been putting out some work showing how nature connection is so fundamental about bringing a deeper sense of meaning stillness, and building that really important connection with this world around us, this world that we are part of. And of course, with the indigenous beliefs and Māori, as I've grown up with this, that this is fundamental. This is how it is. It's not so fully aware of that kind of awareness in UK, but it's grown. It's growing all the time. And so we realise that we all need to be connected. Otherwise things are going to go astray. It's changing the environment. It's changing the environment, which impacts not only the mothers, obviously the babies. We're all completely connected energetically, physically, psychologically. It's affecting the partners, it's affecting the staff, it's affecting the whānau, the family. And so by shifting all of that with these projections of nature and the soundscapes that go with them, and working in a very deep way. We're not talking tourist shots, we're not talking your typical, oh, that's very nice nature. It's about a deeper, real connection that we can actually experience. So this is what I've been up to. So out of this work that we achieved, we put it into 5 birthing units in the Preston Birth Centre for the birthing pools, and we put it in rooms before birth and after birth. We put it into the training rooms. We put it into SAND support because not everything goes as to plan. And so that very difficult situation, we're trying to support people and their families who have come to stay and support as much as possible for a very difficult time. So it's that whole mental health and well-being right across. We won an award from the NHS, the Excellent Supply Awards, in 2017, highly commended for this work. We then went on and put work into Liverpool, women's, into the maternity areas there. And we also followed on and put some work into the Ingleside Birthing Centre, which was a new centre being completely rebuilt in a new place. And so we brought projections into those. And from that we won the Patient Experience Award. It was brilliant. It was like the NHS finally seemed to be really acknowledging that this kind of work that isn't your classical clinical paradigm that you might be used to is having a huge impact on these birthing processes and before and after. We followed that on with awards for our work in perinatal mental health in 2019 and as well. And so we created that cinematic timeout room which the women could come and experience. They had come from all sorts of places, from the Lake District and deprived areas, not so deprived areas. They were used to connecting with nature, being able to get to the beach maybe, or up on the hills, or a park, or ponds. And so we created some specialist cinematic wall of work that enabled them to come to a deeper, quieter place. And they could share that with their babies and the staff there and support. They were in a first floor building. It was a secure unit. They were literally blocked off by a concrete wall. So energetically things are, we feel this difference energetically. We may not be aware of it directly, but as your senses improve you can notice these things. They had high fencing, so that meant that the view of the sky and that sort of connection was limited to some degree. So not an ideal situation, but then all of these things seem to be a compromise. They're trying to do the best they can, and so we're trying to support that process as much as possible. So each situation is different. We're working through that. To me, our work is about bringing and transforming these situations and bringing in something which makes a huge impact. So we have for instance, in the birthing pool rooms, in the Preston birth unit, one of the midwives shared with me that if the projector for some reason hadn't been turned on, they did not consider the room clinically ready. They would not use that room. So unless they really, really had to, there was no other choice. So that's the sort of awareness. They've experienced it, they see the difference, and it's just wonderful to see this depth of knowledge and awareness that's growing. I think it would be useful to get some experience of the films ourselves, and there are so what I will do is play you some films and give you some sense, and we can go through sort of a mini process of feeling that for yourselves and how that is. So to start with, what I'd like you to do is to think of a number between 1 and 10. 10 relating to being very calm, 1 deeply stressed, difficult. So pick a number, just have a little tune in and see how one number comes to mind. How stressed do you feel? How relaxed do you feel right now? And maybe make a note of that if you like. Yeah. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll play a film, and obviously I would normally ask people what film would you like to watch, etc. Obviously we haven't got that ability quite right at the moment, but let's watch this film and then I'll see you on the other side and come back. All right. So now that you've seen that film, how are you feeling now? At a number 1 to 10, 10 being very relaxed, 1 quite stressed. How would you rate your level of relaxation right now? Maybe make a note of that. And so how does that compare? Is it different to before? And can you notice that difference? Tune into that, and then I want you to tune into your body. I want you to just spend a little time tuning into how you're feeling right now. And if you like, close your eyes and have a sense of what sounds you notice. How's your breathing? Do a little body scan. Are there any areas in your body that you notice? Start at your feet if you like, and just scan through, come up your legs, through your torso, your arms. And just see if there's anything drawing your attention. So you can see how, what's happening for you. This experience of scanning is something we go through, and it can be taught as part of the training, and we can find out how we are and what's going on for us. Find a way to let go of some of those stresses within the body and sink into a more peaceful state. Okay, so let's now have a sense of, out of 1 to 10 again, how relaxed do we feel? 10 being deeply relaxed, 1 very stressed. Just have a little check-in. How do we do? Has that changed since the beginning of the film? Is it the same? Maybe it even went up a bit. Maybe you thought of something you wanted to, that you triggered in thinking about and processing things, so maybe that interrupted the process. We can learn these new skills, or maybe they are skills you used to have, or maybe you do that anyway, which is great. So working with people, helping form this sensory awareness, this embodiment, this nature connection, and noticing how that affects us. And so it's can be quite a deep practice depending where you're at with it. Someone described my work as light touch and high impact, because obviously bringing nature imagery and tuning into nature and bringing in a sense of stillness, which I've spent years in dance practice and sensory awareness learning, is not your classical clinical model. So in some ways it's been quite tricky to find the language for this, but then with all the different studies, the different situations, we've found a way to articulate this, and the studies are building all the time. So Derbyshire University have come out with some work on nature connectedness and how important that is. They're relating it to sustainability. They're talking about how people can connect with nature and go for a walk in nature, but being present in nature is not as important as actually making a nature connection. And when they mean that, when they talk about that, this nature connection, they're talking about the emotional connection as well. Sensory connection, being present. You're not literally just there, but are thinking about something else. Can you be aware of the beauty of the nature? How does that make you feel? Have you got a heart connection with nature? And what is that like? How does that feel for you? And can you feel how deeply you can go into this as a meditative experience? So can you find and practice that nature connection. So from that Derbyshire study, what we realised was that they were talking about beauty, emotional connection, presence in nature, that we were in fact doing exactly what they were prescribing pretty much. Through the artistry, the creativity, the way of seeing something, the poetic aspect of the way that the nature images are shown, that we work with them, with the sound, whether it's music, the nature sound, or silent. We're doing it from a state of presence. We're doing it from a state of exploring a deeper knowing. And to me, this is what sustains me in my life. This is what gives me value. This is the meaning they talk about. They talk about finding meaning within that nature connection. As I spend my time here in the Otaki Gorge, it's like every moment right now I can see across the valley, I can see panga trees growing and there's the sun setting. I can see a different light forming on the hill. I can see the new grasses growing and the way that they move in the wind. That all has a quality. It has a quality to me that's beyond words. And that's been my vocation. That has been my quest to explore with the cinematic camera. Can I transport this experience? How much of it can I share with other people? And through these studies and these projects with different people throughout the NHS over these many years, since 2009, we've worked with dementia patients as well. Recently got shortlisted for our work with them. We've found that this work is being understood and taken on board, and I think that's what the symposium is about. It's about looking differently at things and saying, well, how can we do that in a different way? How can we bring those qualities? What's missing? What's missing in the way that we do things? There's obviously lots of things that are right, and what else can we do? And how can we do that? So I'll wrap it up there, and be interested to hear what the other speakers say. I'm interested to hear what reflections, what comes up for you when I talk about all these things and the work that we've been doing there. All right, thank you.